Hello, it's Dr. Rhonda Johnson, and today is Friday, June 18th, 2021. And today I'm sharing results from a national survey that looks at the impact of COVID-19. But first, folks, I want to acknowledge the deaths of over 600,000 Americans. And I hope and pray that their lives have not been lost in vain and that their families are coping as best as possible with their loss and that they have emotional and financial support during this challenging time. And I also want to acknowledge the loss of 3,264,673 other persons across this world and recognize that this number represents a vast undercount of the lives lost to this virus. Now, to look at some results of this study looking at pandemic hardships. This information comes from the Societal Experts Action Network for COVID-19, and they looked at information from various data sources between April 20th and March 2021. There's a lot of information in this report, so I'm only going to summarize a few findings. Some of the findings were that 80% of Americans experience some type of economic, psychological, or health-related hardship during the pandemic. These hardships included financial insecurity, high rates of stress, COVID-related discrimination, moderate to severe psychological distress, food insecurity, and one or more missed mortgage or rent payments during this pandemic. Also in this survey, at least 30% of Black and Latino people reported that they knew someone who had died of COVID-19, compared to 17% of whites and 12% of Asians. This report also discussed life years lost during COVID-19, and the statistics were just staggering. Now, life years lost represents a statistic that takes into account life expectancy as well as mortality. So, for example, if somebody has a life expectancy of 80 years and they die at 60, they have lost 20 life years. So this report found that in 2020 alone, the coronavirus caused an estimated loss of nearly 5.5 million years of life in the United States. Looked at in another way, the average COVID death in the United States in 2020 resulted in a loss of 14 life years. And folks, we should never ever get used to this loss of life from this virus. I want to switch gears now. In this survey, again, they looked at parents and their attitudes towards sending their children back to school. And it turns out 25% of American parents are hesitant to send their children back to fully in-person classes. And they're not even interested in the use of summer school, in-person tutoring, or longer school days to address pandemic-related learning losses. Now, I don't have school-age children anymore, so somebody explain this to me. Perhaps a parent of school-age children can enlighten me. Lastly, I want to report on the U.S. is in its final push to reach its 70% of eligible Americans are vaccinated goal by July 4th. You know, President Biden announced on June 2nd a national month of action. It's like this all-out sprint to get more people vaccinated by July 4th. So just to do my little part, I want to remind folks that you can text your zip code to 438-829. Text your zip code to 438-829, and you'll get a text message giving you locations, a telephone number, and the type of vaccine which is offered at least 2 sites. Or you can maybe get a Lyft ride or Uber ride in many places. Now, folks that don't have a cell phone, just have the old-fashioned landline, you can call 800-232-0233. I'll repeat, 800-232-0233 to help America reach its goal of 70% vaccinated by July 4th. And folks, if you live in Nevada, you might be one of 200 people eligible for $5 million in cash and prizes come July 1st. Now, you know, Ohio, California, Oregon, Kentucky, New York, Massachusetts, and the state of Washington also offer statewide cash incentives. So folks have incentives to get them motivated. And in Indiana, you can get a free box of Girl Scout cookies if you're at an eligible designated site. And across the country, for those of you who still like Krispy Kreme donuts, if you show your vaccination card, you can get one free donut per day at Krispy Kreme's. So, and if that's not enough, Anheuser-Busch announced that it will buy a round of drinks for Americans over the age of 21 once the national goal is met. So folks who like to drink beer, get your friends to get vaccinated, or your beer buddies, so that you all can have a round on Anheuser-Busch. That's my message today. As always, my views are my own. Stay safe, folks, and take care of yourself. Take care of your mental health. Take care of your children. And as always, have a blessed day.